Hello everybody, it's Carrie back again with Crafty Book Nerd, and this is part 2 of making a mini book to use your 6x6 paper pads in. In part 1 I showed how to do the covers and how to do the pages and attach those, and now in this video in part 2 we're going to do some decorating. I'm going to decorate the covers and then I'm going to decorate a few of the pages, and I think that will help you get started, and then I will come back once I've completed my book and show you the completed book. But first, you know what time it is. Time for our quote of the day, and this is one of my favorite quotes. I think I would like to have this in a poster form to put on the wall in my craft room. It says, "Creative people don't have a mess. They have ideas lying around everywhere." I feel like that all the time because my craft room is always a mess, but it's not a mess. It's just my ideas. I have so many ideas. They're just everywhere. All right, so let's get started. So the purpose of this was because if you're like me, you've got tons of 6x6 pads, and I wanted to be able to use those in a book. And so I designed this book for that purpose. And what I'm going to be using to decorate my book today is the Mega Pad from Carta Bella, and it is called Welcome Fall. This is a fairly new one, I think, but I just love the fall colors. I love fall. It's one of my favorite seasons. And so I thought this would be fun to do that. This book will hold about 35 pictures, so it's going to be a substantial little book for some memories. So let's start with the covers. I always like to do those first because I like to pick out the papers I'm going to use for my covers so I don't use those anywhere else. The first thing I'm going to do is I like to use a ribbon closure, and so I'm going to add a piece of ribbon to the front and the back so that we can tie that closed. So let me show you how I do that. I got 2 pieces of ribbon here that match my paper, and I cut these to 18 inches. So I have 2 pieces that are about 18 inches, and that's plenty of ribbon, right? First thing I need to do is find the center of my book. And to do that, I use my Tim Holtz ruler because it has the centering, the little 0 for the centering. And so I'm going to, since I know this is a, a 7x7, it should be about 3.5 on each side, and it is. And then I'm just going to come up here where that 0 is to get my center. Let me show you that. Little closer. And that's the center, and that's where I'm going to put my tape for my ribbon. So I always like to put score pal tape to put my ribbon down and really make sure it's secure. So I'm going to put 1 piece there. Give that a good burnish. All right, I've lost my pokey tool. There it is. That's what I call it, the pokey tool. I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take 1 piece of my ribbon. And I'm going to come in a little bit, an inch or so, to make sure that it's under there. And then I take another few pieces of tape and just do this and this to make sure that ribbon is secured. And now I'm going to turn my book over and get another piece of tape and line that piece of tape up right there, and go ahead and put my other piece of ribbon on. Okay, and I can just kind of even those up. Oops, that. I didn't think that was straight, and I've brought ribbon on the floor now. Oh goodness. Okay. All right, let's get that lined up better. There we go. And do the same thing. Get a few pieces of tape here. Now we know that our book is 7x7. Okay, our covers are 7x7. Make sure you're on the front. And so if you take one of your 6x6 paper pads and you go to put that on, you've got a lot of space around there. And you're like, I like that. I don't. So what I do is I find some solid papers that I have in my stash, and I match those, okay? So I'm going to actually do 3 layers for my cover. I'm going to have 3 layers. So the first layer I did in this kind of burgundy color. And for this first layer, which actually I called it the bottom layer, it is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that's the bottom layer. And I will leave these measurements down below. And so you will need to cut 2 of those, one for the back and one for the front. Then the layer that goes on top of that, you'll also need to cut 2 of these. I cut that one to 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. And that I call the middle layer. And then you take your paper pad, and all you have to do is get a sheet out of there, because that is 6 by 6. Now, doesn't that look much nicer than just this? Much nicer than that. When you layer all of these up, it really looks good. And then for the very top of mine, my 6 by 6 paper pad had some cut aparts, and I found this cut apart that said thankful, and I double matted it, and it's going to go on the very top. Okay, so that's those. And then for the spine, for the back, of course, it's going to be the same. For the spine, I've got 3 pieces. Kind of do it following the same kind of pattern. I'm starting with the reddy maroon color, and that one measures 1 3/4 by 6 3/4. That's this red one. Okay. Then I have the yellowy gold piece that's going to go on top of that one. And that one measures 1 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then the very top piece is another piece out of my 6 by 6 paper pad, and it measures 1 1/4 by 6. And that's going to get my spine. Okay? So let's go ahead and add those pieces. What I do is I build everything, and then I take my book and add it on top. So let's go ahead and build up that first one. Remember, that first one is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. And we're going to put the gold one on top of it, and it is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. You can use tape or glue. I'm going to use my ATG tape. Oops, can't talk for this. Good, nice full coverage. And then I also like to add a little bit of glue around the edges to make sure that that is stuck well. I'm just going to go around the edges a little bit. Okay. Tape sticking over, and then I'm going to line that up. You can get a ruler if you want. I always just eyeball it. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to put my top piece, and this is what I've chosen for my top piece, and that's going to go on top of the gold. I won't do the back cover with you because you're going to do it exactly the same. Going to have your three layers of paper. Okay. But I want to show you how I do that ribbon. Okay. And then I will come back later and I'll add that on. I'm not going to add that right now. Okay. So now, close up this glue. We're going to go back to our book. Make sure we're on the front. This is my front here, and that's where that's going to go. So it's going to go on top of your ribbon. And when I do this cover, I use score tape and glue, actually. I put some score tape and some glue. Because you do not want that to come off of your book. In frame where y'all can see me here. So I hope everybody's having a crafty day. And like I said, you need to watch part 1 of my video first to see how I made this book. It's a very, very simple book to make. It's not real fancy, but it will serve the purpose because my purpose in my books is to focus on my photos. So that's what I like to do. So I like to keep my books simple and hold a lot of pages. Let's go and add some glue to this as well. If there's any tape sticking over, you want to tuck all that in. And I like to do a little glue because it does give you a little wiggle room if you don't get it exactly where you want it. Don't forget to peel this tape up. Okay, and I'll have to stand up for this, making sure I'm at the front of the book, and I am. Okay. I'm going to just eyeball it. There it is. Okay, and so then once I put the back cover on, then we'll be able to tie it, and it will look really nice. It was a perfect ribbon. I will go ahead and do the spine. That will be pretty easy. 3 pieces to layer up here. Put the first spine piece was 1 3/4 by 6 3/4. Our gold that is, our yellow that's going on top is 1 1/2 by 6 1/2. Move that a little bit. Just kind of eyeball. Okay. And then our top piece is 1 1/4 by 6. And like I said, all these measurements, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. All these measurements will be in the description box. Okay. That looks. All right. And I will put a piece of score tape on this right here. And I will put a little piece of this there. Give those a good burnish. Peel those up. You see I'm going to have a little hanging over there. Let's get that. Okay, make sure all that tape is secured back there. Put me some glue, especially on the edges. Okay. And this doesn't have a right or wrong direction, so it's all good. Over to my spine. Eyeball that. Her down. Okay. All right. And like I said, I will take my other pieces that I have and I'll do those off camera. You saw me do one. I don't think you need to see me do the other one, but I'll layer them up like this, and then that will go on the back like so. Okay. All right. So now let's get inside the book. Fun. Remember, I'm using a 6x6 paper pad. I am also using mats from a mat stack, and those are 6 1/2 by 4 1/2, but I cut them down to 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 because that is the perfect size for a photo. So you see there, you've still got some, and I decided to go with cream with these, and so I've cut some of these, and like these are 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So what I do, we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to open it up, and remember we made this these pockets, this pocket, the front and back pocket. So we need to cover this and this. When I did my covers, the maroony color and the yellow gold color, I had some scraps left over. And so I'm using those scraps to cover the inside pocket and this top piece here, okay? The pockets at the bottom measure 2 3/4 by 6 3/4, and that's gonna go right down here, okay? And I'm just gonna do glue on this one. You can do glue, tape, combination of both, whatever you would like to do. Okay, and I did leave a little bit of room so that you will see some of the craft or whatever color it is that you're doing. Okay, so that's the pocket, 2 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then the top piece that's going to go inside here for the top pocket is 6.5 by 5.5. Okay. So just find, when you find your 6x6 paper pad you're using, go in your stash and look at your solids and pull some colors out that will match. And I'm going to put this up here. Okay. All right. That looks good. And then I can put some decorations on here. There's actually almost room here for a photo. You'd have to cut it a little bit, but there's almost room there for a photo. I'm not going to do the back pocket now. You saw me do this one, so that's fine, and I'll show you those others in a minute. Okay, let's move into the interior of our book. So, remember we have these flaps here. Those are going to be for your landscape photos. So when you cut your mats to 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, they're going to fit on here with a little bit of space around. You can put them toward the bottom and have a strip of your decorative paper here, or you can put them to the top and do your paper here. Okay, I think this first one I'm going to put to the bottom, and I'm just going to use my ATG on this. Okay. And put this to the bottom, leaving a little bit of the craft all the way around. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and do the back and front of all of these. I'm going to do all 4 of those, okay? Since I said that one there, let's do like this for this one. Let's put this one toward the top. This book goes together really quick because all the pages are the same. So once you kind of know your measurements, you can take off. That one there, okay? One on the back side over here. I think I'll put this one down like so. Okay. And you've got that. So let's put this next one up toward the top. Okay. All right. So that's that, all right? Now, this is where you're going to add your decorative paper. Now, I know that this is 6 1/4 and this is 6 1/2, but when you put your 6-inch strip right here, it looks fine. And that's a great way to use up your 6x6 paper pads, and it makes your paper go a long way because you only need it to be, this looks like, I've got maybe 1 1/8. I'm looking. If I do 3/4, I'm going to start with a 1 inch and see what that gives me. So I'm going to go into my paper pad, and y'all, these flowers are like my favorite. And since it's already 6, so of course mine has that hole in it, so you got to get that hole part off of there, and I just do like that. Okay, which way should the flowers go? Like this? I'm going to cut that to 1 inch. That means I could get 6 strips out of this one sheet of paper. So it's definitely stretching your paper. Okay, I did it at 1 inch, and let's see if that's going to work or if that's going to be too wide. Actually, 1 inch looks pretty good. So you see what I do is I split the difference between where the mat is. Let me hold that up a little bit. Let me glue it down, and then I can hold it up and you can see it better, what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me hold this up. Okay. So if you look, this is the page. Here we go. Come this way. Okay. So we know that the page itself is 6 1/2 by 6 1/2. Now, if you wanted to cover that whole page with your 6x6 paper, you could, and you would have a 1/2 inch around the sides. But what I like to do is put a photo mat, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, because I know my photo will fit on there, and it will look really nice because it's got a border around it. You see the border? If you want a more border, you could trim your picture. And then this is from my 6x6 paper pad. It's already 6, and then I cut it to 1. And then what I did is I centered it between the 6 1/4 mat stack here, and then I split the difference between the top and the bottom. So you have a little bit of craft showing, and it looks fine. I think it looks great, And like I said, out of this one sheet, I can get 6 strips for my book, 6 of them. And this is cool paper because it's double-sided. So that's that. And then once you've done all that, you'll go back and add your pictures. So let's finish decorating these. We're going to do a strip on each one. Okay, let's pick a different paper. I do love those flowers, though, let me tell you. Ooh, let's see. We got leaves. We got plaid. We got so much fun stuff, y'all, in this one. Check out this piece right here. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to put this one to the side that I've already used, and I know I can use it again. And I'm going to cut this one to 1 inch. And do the same thing. I'm going to put it there. And let's cut one here that would look good with that. I think that this plaid piece would look really good there. Cut that to 1 inch. I'm going to need 4 of these. Yeah. So this is for 4. So there's my third one. And then I'm going to need one more on the back. And I think I'm going to go with the flowers again. Another flower piece. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and glue all those down. I usually use glue for these to kind of save on my tape. All right. That one. This is going to be so pretty. Okay, this is this one. This little plaid, which I love. Okay. Fall leaves over here. I'm ready for fall. We have an excessive heat warning right now. It is so hot. Okay, look how easy that was and how cute. And keep losing my pictures. Then all you have to do, you've got your book decorated. Once I get some fall pictures this fall, I will come back in here and I will just add my pictures. Now, one thing you can do is if you want to do solid strips up here, you can for journaling. Sometimes what I do is then I may cut just a little piece up here and do a little journaling on it, or say who's in the picture or something like that, so I can do. Or you could do picture and you could do a whole journaling spot on one of these if you wanted to. So there's those. That's for those 4 pictures. Now let's come over here to this piece. Now for this piece, we know it's 6.5 by 6.5, okay? If you do your 6, you see you're going to have some space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my scraps that I had left over from my cover. And if I run out of those, I think I've got some more. And this measures, should be 3 by 6.5. Yeah, 3 by 6.5. So I'm going to cut it, my scrap. Oh, I might have one here. Not wide enough. Ooh, this might work. Ha-ha. Aha, 2 3/4, which that is exactly what that is, by 6 1/4. I'm going to put that piece right there. Okay, so keep those scraps, come in handy. Okay, put that down. Now I might come back and add a decorative piece, but what I might end up doing is I've got some really cute cut aparts. Look, I could trim this a little bit and that cut apart would fit really cute there. That's really cute. I like that. Okay, so now this was the little piece that was in here. Okay, and what's cool about this piece is you don't even have to put a photo mat if you don't want to. If you notice, you can put your picture, you can just leave space and put your picture directly on there and then do your strip here if you want to do that. I usually just go ahead and do the photo mat and then I will trim my picture a little bit because I like this is too big, okay, because it's only 6. So I'll have to cut this down to 6 and I'm going to need 2 of them. So I'm going to leave them at 4 1/4 and I'm going to cut them down to 6. Cut these to 6. Whoops. Right here. Okay. And then that way that will fit right on there. It can go portrait or landscape. And then what I will do is when I come and add my picture, I will just trim my picture down so that my picture is a little less than 6. I'll just see where I can trim my picture. I trimmed it a little bit at the top. This one's got a lot. It could be trimmed at the bottom. and I just trim my picture there, and now that's going to fit perfect. Okay, so let's put this on. Is it the right one? Yeah, I cut two. So I don't know which way my pictures are gonna go on yet, but it doesn't really matter, because even if I put it like that and decide to put my picture this way, it's not gonna matter. So usually I try to put one for portrait and one for landscape. So we'll put one here, and it's gonna go end to end. I'm gonna leave a little bit there. There's not gonna be any craft showing at the top and the bottom, because it's exactly 6 by 6. Now I'm going to take this one. I'm going to turn it the other way on the other side. So I'll have one portrait and one landscape if that's what I decide to do. I'm going to leave a little bit of craft showing at the top. Okay. So now, if I'm going to put, well, I thought I did them the same, but I think I did them the same. But anyway, like that. Now I'm going to get my decorative piece here. Let's see. Let's go. Now on this one, it's going to fit all the way. Of course, I've lost the ruler. I don't know if that's 1 inch or if that's going to be a little bigger. This one's going to be a little bigger. It's going to be 1.5. 1.5. And it's going to go all the way. Okay? There it is, like that. That's going to go all the way from side to side to add that. Okay. And I could have even went a little bigger than 1.5, but I like having the craft part. Okay, let's go to the back side. What do we have here? Okay, cut. So our leaf paper, let's do that one. 2, 1.5. Let's put that. Oh, look what I did. That had the hole. Well, Terry, that was good. Psst. Didn't know it was cut from that end. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And now we've got to cover this piece. And for that, let's see. Get back in my pad here. They did give me some solids in here that I could use if I wanted to. There's a different leaf. Let's see. What have I got? I've got leaves on there. Decisions. I'm not doing well. How about some baskets? Now, cut this to 6. And if you do like this, it will fit because of the way the pocket is. And so that will fit. You don't have to use the whole sheet, but you don't have to worry about anything else. So I'm going to just measure from here to here, which is, I don't think I can get it to a 3. Oh no, I need to go about a 3.5 because I want some tucked in. And I got to pay attention to the direction of my paper for this one. Okay, glue. This side of here, like so. Just kind of eyeballing it. Okay, there's that. And then remember, this will go back inside, like so. Okay, so there we have that. Looking good, right? Oops. Now when we turn it over, on this side, we have our little waterfall. Let's start with this back piece, and that can actually be one of your 6x6s. Too busy. Some of this is so busy. You could do a couple things here. I could cut, because once you put the waterfall, it's not the same size anymore. So you have a little less. So you could do a whole sheet like that, and then you could put a photo mat on top. Or you could just do the photo mat and use a strip. It's whatever you want to do. I kind of like doing a strip because it doesn't use as much paper. So I'm inside the waterfall. So let's go ahead and put all those pieces on. And this will not go that way. So it has to go in portrait. And I'm going to put it over here, right next to that. Pretty close. Okay. Now this, all of these have to go portrait. They cannot go that way. So, and you don't cover up that part. So you're going to come like so. Okay. If you want, I will probably come back and add something there in between that. I think I'm going to put this one. No, I'm going to put it here. Okay. And one on the top. Okay. I missed this one in here. I actually got room there for 2, 4, 5 photos here. Okay, and how much space do we have here for a strip? About 1 1/4 maybe. That one maybe not quite 1 1/4, a little bit smaller. That one's, see, they're not all the same. I'm going to do some 1 inches for these. And I think this would look good. Do some 1 inch. Oh, we could do our little baskets too that we had left. Okay, let me cut that off. One inch. And I know I'm going to need another 1 inch. So, yeah. Baskets are going the right way, so I can do 1 inch for those. Okay. Right. And remember, we're getting that in between that. Okay. Something, this is going to show because it's going to be the kind of the waterfall. That's not bad. That 1 inch fits there. Okay, let's put him there. I always forget to go up a little bit. That glue lets you be forgiving. I think this is a 1 inch over here. I'm going to use a piece of my leaf paper that I've got left here. Now, this might be bigger than 6. No, that's good. Okay. All right. Oh, I think I'm out of frame. Hold on. Okay, there we go. There's that one. And I might come back. I'll probably come back with some kind of strip there. Okay. I think, was that one a 1 inch? Let me see. Can't keep up with that ruler, y'all. There it is. Yep, 1 inch for that one. How about some more of our little flowers? Okay, we need a 1 inch there, and then we need, this one over here was a little bigger because that was a bigger flap. I think it was about 1 1/4. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to do 1 1/4 for that one. 1 1/4. All right. Put that. This little book will go together really quick, and it's just going to be so cute. I'm in love already with it. Okay, so there I have decorated 1 page and the cover. It's been about 34 minutes, so that's not too bad. Let's go back and look at what we've got. I did not do this inside one yet, but what I will do is I will put matte here and something here to decorate like I did on the others to go inside this pocket. Okay, so we've got this and that and that. We can put something here. This pulls out for 2 additional photos. This would be a good place to put a little tag for a journaling spot. You could take a piece of your scrap and make it into a tag and use that as a journaling spot. That would be cool. And then that goes back in there. And then we turn it over here. And we have this. Oh, I was going to put a piece of ribbon there to hold those down, but it looks like they're staying pretty good. Or you could even do a magnet. But I think they're going to stay pretty good. So there you go. That is page 1 of our book. And I will finish decorating this off camera. And I will come back and I will show you a final reveal of our cute little book that uses, and y'all, I've only used a few pages so far. I mean, you can get a lot of real estate with your 6x6 paper pad in this book. The only thing you'll need solids for is the covers, because they'll need to be bigger than 6x6. And so I used 2 pieces of the red, 2 pieces of the gold. That did my back cover, my front cover, my spine, and it gave me the scraps to do the piece inside here and inside here. I will leave the measurements below. I will leave a link to the first video if you missed how I made this cute little book. Can't wait to share the finish with you. Please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and hit the like button. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great day and stay cool. And I'm going to keep praying for cooler temperatures because I'm ready for fall.